Hey, Mike Jackson here for Signcraft Magazine. It's now online at www.signcraft.com. Today I want to talk about using the star tool that's in Adobe Illustrator. Now, Adobe Illustrator has been around a long time, and the star tool has been around for quite a while. But there may be some new features that they've been adding over the last few years that may or may not be in your set, your Adobe Illustrator. If you have an old box set, possibly not. If you see things that it can't do based on things I'm doing in the video, it might be time to start thinking about updating it with the Creative Cloud version. So I'm going to do this one today on the star tool, and then I'll do another one in the future on the rectangle and rounded rectangle tool. That'll be a single video. And then there'll be one for the ellipse, which is also the circle tool. That'll be a separate video. And then also the polygon tool. Now, I can't put them all in one because there's just so many features to it. Now, the first thing you probably think of when you think of about stars is 5 points. But technically, in this case with Adobe Illustrator, they're just talking about number of points, and it just happens to be called the star tool. But I've done it up to 360 points on a shape as opposed to a star, and legitimately you might do 8 points on a star, or 12, or even 24, 36, something like that. But you can do a bunch. And you also have some little variable tools to make the star stand straight up and down versus random like you would get if you just clicked and dragged. Okay, let's make some stars here in Adobe Illustrator 2022. What you see on the screen here is I have an 8-inch by 8-inch artboard, and then I have horizontal and vertical guidelines locked down for helping for alignment in the future on this project and on others. And so the first thing you'll see is in the toolbar, you'll notice that I still have the rectangle is turned on, and I have a white value here. I'll just click and let's give it a color, bright red of some sort. In the rectangle tools in the toolbar, you'll see that there's a little down arrow in the lower right hand corner. If I click on that and hold down, you'll see that I have an option to bring up the star tool. Now I can click and drag a star anywhere on the screen here and rotate it around, change sizes. Let's call that good. Well, those are the default stars, and so I'm going to delete those. Okay, so what if we want to make a star from the center? I just click in the center where it says intersect, and I can drag out from the center, all things considered the same way. I'll delete that one. Now this time I'm going to do the very same thing, except I'm going to hold the shift key down as I do it, and you'll notice that the star is the same shape as before, but you'll notice now that the point is dead center on the top. So the next option would be, let's make a star that looks like the traditional star. So I would shift and drag out, but this time while I'm holding the shift key down, I'm going to also hold the option key down, alt on Windows, and you'll see that it makes more of a traditional star with straight lines connecting from each of the 5 points. Okay, I'll show you a few more things you can do with the mouse while you're building the star. And the first thing I'll do is delete this guy. And I'll just kind of quick review. I'm going to drag out from the center, hold the shift key down, hold the option key down. It makes a perfect star. Instead of holding down the option key, I'm going to hold down the command key. And what you'll see is the points on the inside parts of the star that are staying in the same place, but the points on the outside of the star are extending out. I'm going to delete that. Now we'll do one more thing that's similar to that. We'll bring it out, and one of the options you have, I'm holding the shift key down, and now while I've still got the shift key held down and I'm still building the star, if I hold or click on one of the up arrows, I'll add an extra point. And opposite of that, if I want to delete a point or two, or as many as down to where there's only 3 left, that will create star variable points. And typically I like to have even numbers, so I have a point at the top and the bottom. If I hold the command key down, see, control or command key, then I can change the shape considerably. Adobe does give us a way of entering specific numbers for making adjustments to the stars, and that's what we'll show you right here. All you have to do is click while you have the star command selected. Then just click one time in the screen, and what you'll see now is we can adjust the radius 1, radius 2, and the number of points. So if I want to take it back to default, the look of the default, then I'll bring it back to 5 stars. And what you'll notice in the original default is that it was always half, the inside radius was half of the original, so 1.75. Okay, so what we're seeing in the initial star, the default star, is that the distance from the center point to the end of the end point is the R1 radius, and then the point from the center to the the angle here, that's the R2 number, and then of course the number of points is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this case. This time I'll give it a really small inside radius of like 0.2, and this time we'll have a really pointed star. I'll do it again, and this time we'll go ahead and put, let's say, 12 points on it. And again, you get the idea, I'm sure by now. If I put in a really large internal radius, the R2 radius, let's say 3, you're hardly going to see any stars at all. There are a couple of ways of modifying the points on the stars, and I'll give you 2 of them anyway. There's probably a lot more ways of doing that, but one of them would be to make sure you use the selection tool and select your star in this case, and then go directly to Effect, go down to Stylize Round Corners, and you'll see a preview here. You can click and drag and see how it changes that. Now, one of the things you'll notice here on this one is it has a relatively small radius here and a relatively large radius here. And so I'm going to cancel that one, but you can see you can certainly apply it. And you can put in a numerical value. Now the other option, kind of maybe better, depends on what you're doing, would be go to the direct selection tool, and you'll see a couple little radius corner things here, and this is going to adjust both at the same amount, and so whatever radius here is the same radius there. It would be easy to make like a first place label, with a big first and then a couple little flaps hanging down from the ribbons. Here's one more little tip. The odds are pretty good that at some point you'll be working away, and then you'll find out that when you select an object, your bounding box is really messed up like it is right now. But if it needs to get straightened up, just go to Object, Transform, and click on Reset Bounding Box, and it will get it squared back up for you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little quick video on using the star tool. There's also the rectangle tool, the ellipse and circle tools, and the polygon tool are videos that are accompanied this one. It's too much to put in one, and so check those out in signcraft.com and here on YouTube, and I think you'll get a lot of information that you can put to use right away.